Here, apologies, a bit of a power cut here, which cut me off, cut James off. We're going to do a safety car restart. I'm going to send the drivers over to the grid. I've got a 5-minute warm-up session on, so the drivers can get their setups on, get themselves sorted. While they'll do that, I'll tell you a funny story in a moment. I'll just quickly go through the grid order though, but massive apologies to the drivers for having to do the restart. None of us like having to do it, and it can take a while to get everything sorted. There'll be 2 laps in safety car conditions, so the drivers have got 2 laps to get themselves in order. That order will be in P1 Beardy, P2 Live Bride, P3 GT Gavin, P4 K Slate, P5 Vectra, that's GBM Vectra, P6 Hesselden, P7 Neo Tig, P8 is Richie Davey, P9 is Dave the Harp, P10 is from Row Racing RI, P11 is Jason, P12 is Woolhouse, and P13 is Driver Montana. So that'll be the order for the drivers. Now they've got this warm-up session to get their setup on. James, if you just want to message them, this session is so that they can get their setups on. We'll give them the 5 minutes, just so that we don't skip anybody through without their setup on. And now I'll tell people the funny story. James already knows it because I told him straight away. So picture it, I'm sat here doing the commentary, everything's going great, it's peeing it down at the circuit, and then all of a sudden, complete darkness. Absolute complete darkness. I panic and think, I better go and check my electric. So I go and grab my keys, I run down the stairs, I open up the box. Oh no, the power's been cut. Right, I need to get back upstairs and get the little key thing. As I'm running back up the stairs, I fall over. There's been a little bit of effing and blinding, or should I say quite a lot of effing and blinding. Get back upstairs, right, where's my phone, put torchlight on, get that sorted, right, grab this key, back down the stairs. There's a guy stood there going, are you alright, mate? Yeah, I fell up the stairs.
At least you fell up it and not fell down it.
True, that is true, but I have busted my arm, I've busted my finger, I've busted my toe. So yeah,
you've already got a busted shoulder.
Busted shoulder. Yeah, I've now got a busted right shoulder. That somehow didn't get hurt in the fall. A busted middle left finger, a busted left toe, a bit of a cut on my arm. But there we go. I know I should have moved somewhere that had got carpet on the stairs. But anyway, right, okay, so like I say, we've got these 5 minutes to allow the drivers to get their setups on the car. And one of the big things about doing a safety car restart or restarting any session is there's always drivers that lose out under a safety car situation or a restart situation. For the likes of Dave the Harp, who ended up having to pit at the end of the first lap, he gets a reprieve, although I think his position is about P10 anyway. But for the likes of there was a couple of other drivers that gained places in the opening laps, they effectively now lose out on those positions. So massively unfortunate for those drivers, but a restart has been called, the order has been given. James, if you want to take us through that order again.
Yep, so we have so we have P1 Beardy, P2 Library, P3 GT Gavin, 4 Careful, P5 Vectra, P6 Effelman, P7 6, P8 Richie David, P9 Davey Arp, P10 Ray, P11 Jason, P12 Woolhouse, P13 Montana, and then myself and DP in commentary box. And it looks at the moment like the other drivers are just getting used to the weather conditions, and hopefully they're praying for it to dry out pretty soon.
They will be hoping that. Now, we're under the safety car conditions. We've told the drivers there'll be 2 safety car laps. Basically what that means is the drivers have got 2 laps to get themselves in the correct order. That should be more than enough, and then they know at which point they're going to go racing. Now on F1 it's a lot easier for us to let the drivers know that everybody's in order and go. On Project Cars it is much more difficult to do that, because the only way we could do it is to send them a message, but they can't read the message because they're driving. So that's why we've sort of said, right, 2 safety car laps, get yourselves in order, and show us how good you are, which means it's going to go absolutely pear-shaped. We're going to end up with a bit of a mare of a race, probably.
Well, it can't get much worse, can it?
Oh, it can. The electric might go again. I tell you what, just
I told you, you should pay your meter, Dave.
Well, I'd rather spend it on burgers down Donny Park. You've totally put me off what I was going to say now. Yeah, I had something really important to say. You've totally put me off. Totally put me off.
My fault, folks, as usual.
I tell you what, though, James. I'm at the back of the grid, so I'm okay, but you're in 9th. No, you won't be in 9th. It's going to be a random grid order. So
Random
we
grid.
may have to the track. So
I'm at the back, luckily.
Get ready to focus on the line.
I'm on
Think
pole.
about your run to the first corner. We need to hold this pole position.
Well, I shall move off the track, get out of the way, let the drivers get themselves heading off up to the first corner. Now we can see that it is a wet start to the race, so the weather during the restart has not gone and improved itself. I'll retire up to the commentary box. Now let's see. The order, pole position should be who, James?
Bearded.
And he
Beardie's
is?
in P1, Live
Live
Ride in P2, GT Gavin's in P3, K-Slayer's in P4, Hesselden's in P5. He needs to give up position to Vectra.
And Vectra is
P6.
on his way.
So when Vectra gets past, hopefully he's been given the message to get into P5. I think the pack are waiting for him, so let's see. As he gets, yeah, Hesselden's pulling out of the way.
Yep, so that's
through,
Vectra.
so there we go.
That's
Hesselden P6.
Yep.
Neo Tig in P7.
Seven, he is,
P8
yeah.
is Richie Davey. 9 is Davey Art. Ray is P10. 11th is Jason.
12 is Woodhouse and 13 is Driver Montana.
Montana, so very well done, all drivers.
Yep, fantastically well done there.
So we're still going to have the...
Yep, we'll still leave them with 2 safety car laps because we can't tell them anything other than that. So it gives them a chance to get a feel for what the track conditions are like. It's going to give them half a chance now. And also, not only that, James, as you know, I'm sure, when you're in safety car conditions, you drive a little bit slower, you short shift, you save a bit of juice. Now, the drivers are going to have to try and work their tyres a little bit, but they are going to be able to save a little bit of fuel here, which means that they may be able to run close to running out of fuel towards the end of the race.
Yeah, there's only a few drivers that have decided to turn the lights off, but in these conditions I would prefer to turn them off, as the glare can sometimes give a false reading on where the grip is on the circuit.
Yep. Now, before we had to do this restart, I think it was GBM Beardy and Live Bride, they were storming off up at the front. They really sort of took the fight between themselves and got rid of everybody else early on. Do you think we're going to see that happen all over again when this race gets going?
I think with the safety car restart we may see a couple of moves, but hopefully it'll be a lot more smoother than a standing start, especially in these wet conditions.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, GBM Beardy here, I'm not sure if he's led a safety car restart before in the FRR Project Cars races, but he's on for doing one here at Snetterton. Now, I'd say at the moment he's running a fairly decent pace, which is good to see. They should all know that they should have hopefully worked out that they're all pretty much in the right order. Now, in the dry, we were looking at, I think it was 140 something, 150 something. No, we didn't have dry. In qualified in the wet, we were looking at sort of high 150s for a qualifying lap. So now that the drivers are on this second lap, GBM Beardy, we may see him just pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, he is picking up, yeah.
Now, obviously, what we won't want to see is heavy braking, catching drivers out or anything like that. But obviously, they all know they've got this second safety car lap to do. But with Beardy being the pace car, he will get to decide effectively when he goes. But for anyone that is leading a safety car train, if you're going to go, you go and you don't stop. What drivers hate, I mean, I hate it and you hate it, James, is when that lead car goes and then decides, oh no, maybe not yet.
Yeah, you can't have 20 drivers, especially in Formula 1, you can't have 20 drivers getting on the power and then slamming all on. That is uncalled for. That it's very dangerous and it can tackle their competitors out. But I don't know if Beardy is slowing down. He's doing exactly what we said, where he's bolted and then slowing down. Still got a few corners to go yet before he decides whether to bolt or not.
Well, I think he's getting up towards the bomb hole now. I think he may now have gone. So perhaps he was just closing the pack up a little bit to then make his move, and he has done. No, he hasn't.
No, he's slowed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he can now, if he wants, he can go. I mean, one thing we haven't done with the Project Cars leagues is say, right, this is the point you can go from. But I think it'd be fair.
He's going now. Here we go.
He's going. So the race is underway then. It will be effectively a 26-lap race. But I don't know if you noticed, James, in this second safety car lap, the weather seems to have got a little bit brighter.
Yeah, just to let you know that the camera crew don't seem to be... I think they're on strike today down the pit straight. It's showing me the pit garages, so just a word of warning.
Richie David, sorry, just ran a little bit wide.
The inside.
He's wasting no time.
Sniff. Yeah, but Richie Davis carrying the speed round the outside.
He's got Hesselden ahead of him, and he'll want to try and make a move on Hesselden as early as possible if Hesselden doesn't seem to have the pace that he would normally have here.
Yeah, Richie Davis looks like he's got his tyres up to temperature.
He can't quite look at making a move yet, though. Neotig's in 8th, Dave's in 9th, Ray's 10th, Jason 11th, Driver Montana 12th, and Woolhouse, he's off. He's struggling in these wet conditions. It's a spin for him.
I don't know if it's just me, but it looked for a moment. Oh, Woolhouse, I think he's had a crash and he's out.
I think you were about to say, it looks like it's just got sunny. Well, where Woolhouse was spinning, it was sunny. So I think that section of the circuit, and now where Beardy is, the sun is definitely shining on the racetrack. Very odd.
It's like it's like the sun's breaking through for a few seconds and then going. It's like patchy rain at the moment. Some areas it's heavy rain, some areas it's light rain. So it's very odd.
Richie Davies sneaks past Hesselden with a lovely, sneaky move, really, up the inside into the left-right chicane. Very beautifully executed there, but he's wiggling around the bomb hole. You want to be careful around there. We're not being rude. That is what those corners are called.
It's talking about wiggling, Dave the Arts, wiggling with the pressure of Ray behind him in P9.
Now, Ray did not have a lot of time to practice around here, and I did say to him, have a look at the weather forecast as well. I got a very short response from him after that. I think if I took out the swear words, it'd be, oh, I'm, and that's about it. Oh, no, sorry, I'm gonna be... And that was about it. You can fill in the rest yourself. So yeah, he wasn't looking forward to wet conditions here, but it looks like it's going to be drying up fairly soon.
Definitely, and we've got live Brian. He's trying to reel in Beardy, but Beardy set a lap time of a 56.0, and live Brian set a lap time of a 56.8. So he's got to find something special to keep in touch with Beardy before he bolts down the road.
Well, the gap between sort of Beardy and Livebright at the moment is it's almost the gap that that Beardy sort of created on that restart. But the situation for the drivers now is that they're probably on wet tyres. Stays out, it's just going to get drier and drier and drier. So at what point do they go from searching for water to searching for a new set of tyres?
I think you'll know from looking at Delta time. If they use the correct settings, they'll be able to bring up how much time they're losing per sector, and once you're losing at least a second to 2 seconds per sector, you know you're on the wrong tyre.
I tell you what, James, something you might want to have a look at is Richie Davey. Look at the gap he's pulled out on Hesselden. Now look at the gap he's lost to Hesselden, because he's just spun off the track. I was about to say, look at the gap he's just pulled out. He's storming away from Hesselden. He's catching the car ahead, and then he found a bit of the the location here that you don't really want to be on.
Yeah, it's hard to push in these conditions. You must be very talented and able to push as hard as you can. But I've got to say, carefully, he's going to have to find something special. He was super quick on Friday. We know he's got a lot of talent, and
GBM Vectra was catching him up, but he's just gone very, very deep at the previous corner.
Yeah, I think
he's off.
Oh,
Vectra, he's gone so wide, he nearly wasn't even caught by the camera.
I think Hesselden is really struggling. Quickest lap time of a 2:01. That is super slow for Hesselden.
Well, what do you think will be going through Dave's mind at the moment? He's just catching Hesselden as if someone else is driving that car.
Yeah, I think Dave knows what threat Hesselden can be, especially when he gets his wheel issues sorted. And you've got to take advantage. You've got to take as many points off them competitors as when the opportunity arises, because they don't happen often.
You're right there. I mean, Hesselden did have his issues last season with a few disconnections. He's having a few issues this season with his wheel, by the looks of things. I'm just having a look here to see whether GBM Beardy is going to be continuing on this set of tyres, or whether he's going to make a move for the pit lane. It looks like it's still too wet to think about going for a dry tyre. I mean, it is still raining, and he does continue on.
It could be intermediate tyres, because the standing water does seem to be receding.
Now, one thing I haven't checked, and I don't know if you sort of looked at it, James, Casely, he's not gone for the pit lane. See if GBM Vectra does. Nope. And Hesselden? Nope. Yeah, I mean, with the Lotus Type 72D, you've got the choice of slicks or wets. So when you're driving that car, if you've got a bit of wet weather coming, what do you do? Because there's no intermediate tyre, and I haven't checked if these have an intermediate.
Unfortunately, with them cars, I've tested it even in light rain, and even if you try and stay out on the slicks, you're going to be straight off. There is no chance of saving it, no matter how low you run your tyre pressures. There is no chance of saving it in slick tyres, so you've got to, even in light rain, you've got to jump onto the wet tyres and just try and be as gentle as you can, because the last thing you need to do is easily spin the rears up, burn them out, and before you know it, you're back in for another set of wets. Whereas at least with these cars, I do believe the intermediate tyre is available.
Okay, well, if the intermediate tyre is available, I think the drivers were either already on them or they're going to bypass them, because the first hot sort of sector of the track does look like it's beginning to get a bit of a dry line, but there's quite a few. I mean, it's one of those things where you've got high-speed corners and you're really pushing the car around the track. A racing line will appear fairly quick because you're getting rid of the water quick and you're forcing it out of the way. In the slower corners, it's probably going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, Beardy's set fastest lap is 55.2, and he's just dropped it by a second to a 54.4. So Beardy's super strong at this moment in time and bolting away from the field. Live
Bryce just dropped his to a 155. GT Gavin's on a 157. What's Casely doing? He's still on a 158 or above. GBM Vectra in 5th place on a 158 at the moment. Is he going to improve on that? No, he's not. Hesselden, 2 minutes. He's over 2 seconds. He did improve his lap, but it's still a 2-minute lap time, and Dave's a tiny bit faster than him at the moment. Richie Davey does a 158.
Since when have we seen Hesselden be 5 seconds a lap slower than the leader? It's unheard of. He must be having wheel issues.
I mean, the thing is, having wheel issues in the dry is one thing. You can't feel what the car is doing when it's really connected to the tarmac. Because from Row Racing RI, he is the first to make a move. Driver Montana is in the pits. We've lost another driver, Woolhouse. His race is over. That must have been the one earlier on. Driver Montana is now out of the race. But I think Ray has made a move here to either intermediate tyres or the slicks. We'll see if it's slicks, because he might spin it on the first couple of corners.
Yeah, I do think it's a touch too early for slicks. We're about to find out. It does say on my screen that he's on back on rain tyres. It doesn't say intermediates though.
Okay. Maybe it was a stop for damage. If it was, we didn't see what happened to him.
He's on slicks.
I would say,
he's struggling like mad,
you see, round turn 1, he was okay. It's a faster corner. It might have been a little bit drier there. He got to turn 2 where it's a slower corner, and the grip just wasn't there for him. Okay.
Yeah, he's weaving to try and get some temperature, but there's no chance at the moment.
Live Bryce continued on, and he's just improved his lap time by another couple of tenths. Sorry, that's GBM Beardy, my mistake. Live Bry is now coming up to the line. And is he going to improve? No, he's not. GT Gavin, he's just improved his lap time, to a 156. The car's getting a little bit spread out now, with 21 laps remaining.
Dave Hart behind Hesselden, I think that is the closest. 2 cars on circuit.
I tell you what, Neotig's about as far away from Dave as Dave is. No, sorry, I'm looking at Hesselden. That's Dave the Harp in the background. Dave the Harp is about as far away from Hesselden as Hesselden is ahead of Dave the Harp.
Okay, no.
I thought that's a pretty good one, I thought. I like that one. I'm going to have to use that one more often. My face was as close to the steps as my backside was as close to the ceiling. That's how it felt anyway.
Ray is continuing to struggle. The fast circuit is looking still intermediate conditions, whereas the turn 1's looking quite dry compared to the other side.
I tell you what, James, use the camera view where you can see sort of a driver's perspective of the racing line, and see if you can spot where looks dry, where looks wet. Go on board with Live Bry, not Live Bry, GBM Beardy, because he's coming around the final corner now. He's probably going to go into the pits as well, probably. But you can give us a description around the circuit of where perhaps looks dry and where perhaps looks wet.
Well, typically the line which most cars are using, which is the racing line, is dry. As we're running into turn 1, rear end just snapped. Beardy's got a lot of confidence in this car, running through turn 1, a lot of standing water still. Getting it round, very slow corner, very easy to lose it on traction, but it's looking not too bad through this section. And standing water right where you don't want it, just on the point where you're going to brake, but Beardy is handling it like a champ.
I tell you what though, James, sorry, it looks like the rain is beginning to fall a little bit heavier now.
Yeah, it's you've got to have looked after your tyres, and it doesn't help if you've got a nice gap like Beardy does.
Into this section, is the track looking dry? Is it, I mean, what's the racing line like through the corners?
The racing line's not too bad, it's just on the, if you're running off the racing line. Oh, actually the racing line through that corner was full of standing water, so yeah, the rain is definitely coming back from the previous lap. That puddle was not there, so yeah, well, running under the bridge right onto the standing water.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it does begin to rain heavy again, then the forecast was right. The forecast that was given to the drivers was heavy rain with a chance of sun. So if we've got rain coming again, then it looks like that was our chance of sun.
Yeah, I think the forecast should have been changed to heavy rain with a chance of light rain.
The drivers would have loved that one. I mean, unfortunately, for someone like Ray, as Beardy is going, continuing on to complete the time, for someone like Ray, who's perhaps made a pit stop for a slick tyres, he's now going to potentially have to make another stop for another set of wets. And I think GT Gavin 2, he's put a lap time in of a 154.6. Which is very close to the leader's lap time, and he's catching Livebry, who's in second place.
Yeah, I think Vectra. Has Vectra lapped Ray? Am I completely wrong?
I think you might be wrong on that one. No, you might be right there. You might be right. Ray may have been lapped. Yes, he has. I didn't see the leaders lapping, but Ray's continuing on. He's fighting this one out, but then, come on, he is Scottish. If there's any guy that's going to be able to drive slick tyres on a wet track, he's probably got a better chance than most. But GBM Vectra, he is up to fifth at the moment.
Yeah, Ray's really struggling. I don't know if he's just letting the cars pass, but he's running onto the grass to do so, which tells me that he's super struggling, as Dave texts him around the outside now.
Yep, well, I think Hesselden and Dave are beginning to catch GBM Vectra, which if they are, it could be that with the rain beginning to fall a little bit heavier, their tyres have been looked after a little bit more. So as the rain comes back down, their tyres are going to enjoy the conditions a bit more. For Ray, though, really, he hasn't got much choice other than to get that car back into the pits and stick a set of wet tyres on, I think.
Yeah, I think Ray will be praying for some sort of masterstroke, but unfortunately I don't think it's going to happen.
I think Richie Davey has just come out of the pits, and I'm hoping it's for a set of intermediates or wets, because if they're slicks, he's going to be struggling. He's round that corner. Oh, yeah.
They could be cold tyres, but it does look a bit suspect, that.
It does, but if I have a look at Ray, I mean, it's definitely
into the pit.
Okay, so maybe it is. I mean, if you're running a wet or an intermediate tyre and the track dries up, you are going to put an overheating cycle through the tyres and potentially burn off some rubber. So putting on a brand new set of wets or inters will give you much faster lap times. It's a case of whether anyone else is going to pit as well.
Beardy's had a super long stop, and I think Casler is going to jump him here. Yeah, he has, just in front of him now.
That would mean then that somebody else has pitted, because GBM Vectra is up to fourth, Hesselden's in fifth, Dave the Harp's in sixth. No, GT Gavin 2, he's going slow. He's going really slow. Almost as if he's out of fuel. I think Neotig may have just been giving him a little bit of a nudge there towards the pit lane.
Yeah.
So GT Gavin 2 either did not check his fuel in the warm up.
He's rolling, but is he going to make it?
Well, he'll hope he can get to the point where the game gets taken over. No, it looks like he may have parked it.
Is he going to make it? Yeah, he's parking it because he hasn't made it to the line. He's out.
His car is now sideways in the garage, throwing an absolute hissy fit. I think that's GT Gavin inside the cockpit, banging his head against the steering. That's quite funny, that is. It's now sinking into the ground. I think Snetterton are going to have to do some fixing work on the pit garage slot.
And apologies to the viewers. We have underestimated the pace of Hesselden with a dodgy wheel. He's managed to get in front of Vectra. I think maybe Vectra's made a mistake.
Or perhaps maybe he's just burnt his tyres out.
Yeah, he's really struggling.
Yeah, he is struggling. I mean, driving style does have a huge effect. Oh, Casey, he's wide. The cameraman took a dive there to make sure he wasn't in any danger. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Beardy and Casey pitting. I tell you what, though, it almost looks as if it's raining heavier than it was at the start of the session. Livebry's continued on, so he's leading this race. GBM Beardy has already made a pit stop. He's in second place. Then we've got Casey in third. He hasn't stopped yet. Is he going to be going for the pit lane? Yes, he is. Hesselden, 4th. Is he going to be making his way for a new set of tyres? No, he is not. Neither is Vectra. Dave the Harp.
He's going in.
He is, and I tell you what, that was Ray catching him up. Ray was catching him up.
Ray's now on a lap down. Oh, Richie Davey and Jason having a bit of scraping paint there.
Here's a thought for you, James. We thought Ray had gone to slick tyres because he was all over the place, but he was just catching up to Dave the Harp. Now, okay, Dave's just pitted for a new set of tyres, but something we didn't consider. Maybe the drivers were on intermediate tyres and Ray gambled a set of full wets as Jason goes for a little bit of a spin out to the final corner. Because, yeah, I mean, if these guys are on intermediate tyres and it's really hammering it down, they're going to need full wets. So maybe Ray's pulled a little bit of a blinder here, suffered the pain for a few laps, but now it could benefit him. I don't want to curse him, but he's got a car ahead of him that almost looks like... Is that Jason or is that Hesselden? It's not Jason. It's not Hesselden, it's GBM Vectra. So GBM Vectra hasn't pitted yet, and Ray is catching him up, flashing his lights. I think Ray's on the full wet tyre.
I've got to say, Live he's coming into the pits now, but he's done a brilliant job to stay out.
Oh!
17 laps to go.
Did you hear that, James? Did you hear that ringing in the ears? It's still ringing in the skies. I've just heard a crack of thunder. GBM Beardy, he's going to retake the lead as Livebry's in the pits. Hesselden is now up to 3rd place, but has not made a pit stop yet. And I tell you what, if we ride on board with Hesselden, the skies are looking very, very dark. Is he going for the pit lane? No, he is not.
But is he going to get out in front of Livebry? Livebry's at the pit exit.
I tell you what, I mentioned that Ray was catching... Sorry, I mentioned that Ray was catching Vectra. He ain't catching him anymore. He's got past him. He's driven off. GBM Vectra now into the pits. Oh, and a big flash of lightning. We've got a storm coming over here in Snetterton.
And Livebry is catching Hesselden, who's just gone a touch wide for P2. I think Livebry was running in... Oh, big flash of lightning. Oh, 2. I think it's very close, this thunderstorm. I don't think it can get much closer. As Livebry gets closer to Hesselden, is he going to go for a little sneaky move down the inside? He's braking late. Hesselden, has he seen it? Yeah, he has. He's aware. He's got a brain. And, yeah, Livebry's through.
Now that could just be...
the lightning again. He's horrendous.
Don't you think it's strange how us humans are either fascinated by, or crack of thunder, or either fascinated by thunder and lightning, or terrified of it?
I think it's just one of them things where nature, the majority of the time, is pretty harmless. But then when it shows how powerful it is, you really do think to yourself, you know what? I'm absolutely powerless. If that lightning gets me, I'm doomed.
Yeah, I tell you what, I saw something the other day, and for any viewers that have never heard of this guy, he's worth having a look up on Facebook. Right, his name's Tim Peake, and he's an astronaut. He's a British astronaut, and he's currently on the International Space Station. Now I'm mentioning it because
Vectra's off.
Is that Vectra? You say Vectra's off? He is. He's had a spin. He's in 8th place and he may lose more. That car's going very, very slow at the moment. Jason's into the pit lane. He's on the International Space Station. And he takes some... Jason's race is over. Jason's race is over. He's in the pits. Ray's going to gain another position. Tim Peake takes some phenomenal photographs. And I saw one the other day that... It kind of made me chuckle. Vectra's on the move again. It kind of made me chuckle, but at the same time, it kind of connects to what you were saying there, James, about every now and again, nature shows you just how infinitesimal you are. And the picture, it was a picture of, another huge crack of thunder, of Mount Etna in Italy. All right, now Mount Etna is a volcano, and he put a beautiful comment on this picture, and it was Mount Etna having a cheeky smoke. And it was a beautiful picture of this island, and you can see this wonderful volcano with just a little stream of smoke pouring out of the top of it. And you kind of look at it and go, that's rather beautiful. And then you go, hang on a minute, that's a volcano. That volcano must be quite big, and not only that, it's got a bit of smoke pouring out to the top of it. And what usually happens when a volcano pours a little bit of smoke out the top of it?
Well,
you don't know, but they tend to pop their clogs and drop a load of lava somewhere. And if you ever want to feel a little bit small and like nature could just change something instantly, watch a volcano going off. Absolutely unbelievable.
I think one of the main things for me is, I mean, this isn't my personal taste in films, but I really like Star Wars, and loads of my friends say to me, James, why do you like Star Wars? It's for geeks and all that lot. And I say, well, you know what, it is quite good, but like people go, oh, but you know, it's a film about space and people in space.
Richie Davey, he's had a big moment. He's just been given a nudge. Sorry about that, but yeah.
I've been watching him on the previous lap. He's been wiggling all over. I don't know if he's got damage in any slight way, because it does seem to be quite twitchy on straight line. Is that Dave the App up his inside? Yeah, it is.
It is, and Richie's gone. Richie's off.
Yeah, he's definitely struggling.
And Neotig's catching him as well. I'm a space nut as well. I mean, I like Star Wars. I think
people just think of it. I think people get confused with Star Trek and Star Wars. Not to diss Star Trek, but I think the thing that winds me up though is when people go, oh, it's about stuff in space, it's well fake and all that lot, and I just think to myself, you know what? We're in space. We're on a planet going round the sun in the middle of nowhere, and people don't seem to understand that. And that's when you know how insignificant each person is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, here's a little statistic for you, right? I think at the start of the Premier League season, the odds on Leicester City winning the Premier League were 5,000 to 1, right? Now, I'm not a betting person, so that doesn't really mean anything to me, but obviously it's a big number, so it must mean it wasn't very expected. Right. Now, if Leicester City have won the Premier League, I don't know what result they got today, then that bet will be the biggest ever sort of ratio to pay out. 5,000 to 1, never in history. It'll be the biggest. Now, to put that into perspective, another big flash of lightning. To put that into perspective, the book is 106 to 1 that there's aliens.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, there must be something out. I know this is turning into a different programme as Richie Davies still flying over the back of Davey out with Neo-Sig points, but there must be something out there. There's no way on earth that we are the only people and the only thing, the only planet that has living creatures. I reckon there will be a planet out there that's got something as ancient as dinosaurs on it that don't, you know, they're not super intelligent, they're just animals out there surviving.
I've just got an email off an address I don't know. It says, "Who you calling not intelligent?" As Richie Davey goes off again, takes out a sign. He's back on the track though, but that puts Neotig. yeah, we are. But that moves Neotig up to 6th place. It is. But no, I mean, I agree with you. I kept a little quiet there, kind of. Living creatures, there has to be. At the end of the day, the chances are that we ended up on this planet from debris from outer space. So there's every possibility. I mean, the amount of billions of galaxies there are out there, there has to be. But anyway, I suppose we should focus a little bit more on driving. But actually, the last thing I will say is another thing about Tim Peake. Sorry, he also has posted on his Facebook page time-lapse videos of thunderstorms from the International Space Station. And I tell you, well, I would say I hit you not, that it would just change your perspective of just how many thunderstorms and lightning storms there are out there. But as you say, the weather's changing, and not only is the weather changing, Casely is now catching up to Hesselden.
Yeah, he's chewing time away from him his previous lap. I think Hesselden may have just pitted, and that may have been the worst time to pit because it's getting so dry, as his previous lap was a 2:32 and Casely's was a 2:02, so Hesselden must have just pitted.
I'll tell you what, that's
the wrong time to pit.
It was, but I'll tell you what, that's gone quickly from a big nasty thunderstorm to rather beautiful sunshine, even though it's still raining. But trust me, folks, you can still get sunburn on a miserable day. I know, because it's happened to me today. Oh, we've got a car going slow. We've got a car going very, very slow on the start-finish. It was a yellow car. I couldn't see who it was. It's GBM Vectra.
Yeah, he's rolling into the pit. Yeah, he's been running really slow, and Hesselden is now going to be under pressure from Casely.
I tell you what, Ray has kind of got himself back into this race. I don't know if he's still a lap down, but he's currently in 8th place, and he's got the leader, GBM Beardy, right behind him. Just as we say that it's got sunny, I think it's raining again.
And Davey Yatt's in the pit. What is he going to go for? He's going to go for slicks. Is he going to go for wets? What's going to happen?
I'll tell you what, I've
You're
got a feeling...
gambling man, what would you go with?
You know what, with the way the weather's been in this race so far, I'd probably keep full wet tyres on. Because, I mean, well, if you understand weather, if you've got storms, it's either going to have been preceded by sunny weather or going to be followed by sunny weather. And I don't want to get all scientific, but if you've got really sunny weather and it's followed by a storm, it's probably going to be followed by really sunny weather that's then going to be followed by a storm. So yeah, I probably wouldn't be taking too many gambles at the moment.
The litmus test is David Harp. I think he is running the slick tyre and he is in P7, so let's see what he's got.
I mean, it is one of those things, though, I suppose. I mean, the amount of times people say, I tell you, this track has dried very, very quickly. You've got to be on the right tyre at the right time. And if he's on the slicks now, if it's only for 3-4 laps, it could be a massive gain he makes, but effectively he's done a pit stop. And if others don't, then he's got that time to try and gain back. But Richie Davies ahead of him on track at the moment.
Live Rise pitted for slicks as well from P2, and he's kept P2.
I tell you what, Dave is catching Richie Davey fairly damn quick at the moment. I mean, anyone that's on full wet tyres now, they will be shredding them.
Yeah, definitely. Richie Davey has been struggling throughout this race, and yeah, Dave's just taking half a second out of him in about 3 corners there.
Now, I don't think any of the leaders have pitted just yet. But yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Dave...
You can tell that Dave's definitely on slicks. He's braking so much later than Richie Davey.
Richie Davies sort of struggling a little bit for the grip in the corners. He'll see that car catching him.
Here we go. Oh, it's a big twitch there from Richie Davey. He knows it.
I mean, this is a situation, if you're Dave the Harp, you want to overtake, but you know that the car ahead's struggling, and there's half a chance he's going to be going to the pit lane.
Definitely. As Ray's, I think, also going to be going to the pit lane. Yeah, Ray's a lap down, he's going to the pit lane. So Richie Davies, he just jumped in front of
Ray's on the move.
What's going on with Ray's car? What's going on with Ray's car? That were amazing. He came in the pits, and then he carried on. I don't think he stopped.
Oh, if it hasn't stopped, that's just
came
screwed
in and
him.
went out.
I tell you what, though, GBM Beardy, race leader, he's in the pits. Live Bright may have already pitted. He's coming around the bomb hole now. Let's see, is GBM Beardy on the move yet? Yes, he is. So I think Live Bright may have already made a pit stop. 3rd place, Hesselden, Casely. I think they're still on wet tyres, battling it out.
Neil Tigg's under pressure now from Dave the Half. Neil Tigg's still on wet tyres, I believe, because he's completely missed the apex of the previous corner.
I mean, what do you do, James, as a driver when you're following a car that you know is probably still on wet tyres and you're on brand new sort of slick tyres? I mean, How do you deal with that situation?
Well, as I found out on Friday, it wasn't the fact that I knew other drivers were on on different types of tyres. I just knew that I had a lot more grip. So I just thought, you know what, it's not worth risking it in a braking zone. I would much prefer brake early and just do them on traction.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make a move, make it up the inside, because chances are they're not going to be getting to the apex of a corner. But Neotig, actually, he's holding his own at the moment, but it's in the...
Yeah, he is.
He may struggle a little bit here.
See, 10 laps to go, anything can happen.
I mean, 10 laps to go. I mean, for all we know, we could see more rain. I mean, that's what I think I'll be looking out for. But Neotig's opened up a gap now on Dave the Hart. I'm wondering if Neotig perhaps did go for a pit stop and is running slick tyres, or whether he's just burnt his... It wets down to
slicks. I think maybe when we cut on board with him, maybe he was just coming out of the pits and maybe tyres were just cold.
I think I've just got on board with Richie Davey. Sorry, I've just gone on board with Richie Davey as he was off track and now out of this race. He was having a fantastic stint earlier on, and Ray is back into the pits. So his first stop,
back.
Yeah, well, not first stop. His previous stop is one that he didn't do anything on.
So we've only got 8 remaining runners, and they're all very spread out.
Well, Caseley's in 4th. I think there's a bit of a gap now between Heselden and Caseley. Oh, James, look at the screen. And who has just made his pit stop for slick tyres?
Ray.
Yeah, if he'd have been able to go on for another lap.
In the foot.
You've got a puncture, front left.
Heselden, I think Heselden might have a puncture. Someone's got a puncture. I'm not sure. I thought it might have been Heselden because I was riding on board with him.
Right, so we've got a message from Heselden's pit crew. I think he's got damage, either a puncture or damage.
I'm not seeing anybody sort of being out of shape as if they've got a puncture. We'll have to keep an eye on who may make a move for the pit lane. I mean, it's too soon yet to think about going for any kind of wet tyre, but with how quick this track dried up, I reckon it could just as quickly go wet again.
I think at the end of this lap you need to be in for wet tyres. I'm sure we're going to see at least one driver completely bin it. This circuit is getting greasy very quick.
You've got a puncture, rear left.
Is now saying someone's got a puncture rear left?
Quite possibly that this pit crew is in a different location, because I don't think anybody's got...
Got a puncture, rear left.
Yeah, I think this is false radio communications we're receiving, because I'm pretty sure we'd see cars completely sideways.
I would agree with you. Now, with 8 laps remaining, I will just say to you, James, see if you can spot the cheering giant.
Cheering giant. Right, here we go then.
Now, viewers,
let's see if we can see it.
Now, viewers, you may have spotted it. If you have spotted it, good on you. But James, yeah, see if you can find the cheering giant as the rain is now coming down a little bit harder. I mean, what would you do now, James? Do you chuck it in the pit lane? I mean, you asked me.
Yeah.
Do you just chuck it in early, knowing that it could absolutely hammer it down?
I'd get it in, because if you bin it and you go off into the grass, not only have you lost tyre temperature, you'll be losing at least 6 seconds. And quite possibly more than that. I would much prefer get in the pits, get better tyres on, a bit more grip, go out there and hope somebody else bins it.
Yeah. I tell you what, Neotig, whatever he did when Dave the Ark caught him up, has worked, because he's opened up an enormous gap on him. GBM Vectra still running in 8th place, and James still hasn't spotted the cheering giant just yet.
No. You're going to have to give me a clue.
No, it'll be on your screen. You may have spotted that one, viewers. I timed that beautifully. James doesn't know who I was riding on board with. K-Slay's gone very, very deep at one of the hairpins. Very, very deep. I think it's just got quite wet on the track. Hesselden, where is he?
knows that Librai's in the pits before Beardy. Beardy's not actually that far in front of Librai. That's quite surprising. I'm wondering if Beardy's struggling.
No, I think Livebry went for an earlier stop for the slick tyres and really got the benefit from them, closed that gap up. But what I did notice, let's see what Hesselden's lap time is. Hesselden's fastest lap time at the moment is a 1:58.7. Now, I don't know if he's been running slick tyres at all or not, but in the dry, his best lap time's still a 1:58.7. The leader's best lap, a 1:48.9. Second place, a 1:48.6. That's a 10-second difference.
Oh, we've got a car off. He's right in front of Beardy. Is that Dave the Arp? No, it's Neotic. Yeah, it is. It's Dave the Arp. He's completely lost it on traction, so Beardy needs to watch out. If Dave the Arp's lost it, it's very easy for him to lose it as well. To head under the bridge. Oh. Yeah, it's definitely get off the slick tyres and get in the pit lane.
K-Slay's just gone off for the final corner. Is he going to go for the pits? Yes, he is. It's the only wise choice he can make. Neotic spinning! Neotic spinning!
Yeah, exactly.
And he's done that around the final corner. He's got to get that into the pits. Where's Dave the Harp? Dave the Harp's a few corners away. Neotic is now into the pit lane. I tell you what, if Dave hadn't have had his own little moment, it'd have probably caught Neotic there. But I think Dave the Harp, he's got to get around the corner as well, and it's very, very wet now. I think the race leader is also into the pit lane.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see the gap between Livebry and GBM Beardy once Beardy's made his stop, because once again Livebry's gone for it a little bit earlier, and I think he may have called it at absolutely the right time. I'll keep an eye on Livebry. James, you keep an eye on Beardy if you can.
Esselden's completely lost it, and this may be giving the chance to K-Slay, who's just made a pit stop. Esselden, I think if he pits, he's going to end up in P4.
Okay, Livebry is coming up to the final corner. James, if you could find out where Beardy is, see if he's on the move yet.
Beardy's at pit exit already.
So, looks like Beardy's going to be safe. Yeah, he's into turn one. So, got the start finish.
Big change is going to be Hesselden when he pits. I think K-Slay's going to jump him.
I mean, if he's already lost it once on this lap, he'll know that the opportunity's there to lose it again. And the final few corners have got very, very, very wet now. And we've seen a couple of cars spin around this final corner. How's Hesselden going to get on? Gets the apex nicely.
Just about. He's staying out.
Is he a madman? Is he human?
He's the Terminator.
Wow.
Breaking deep into the first corner. He's struggling like mad. I don't know what's going on inside his brain.
I tell you what, James, see if you can find the cheering giant and see if you can work out what the gap is between Hesselden and K-Slay, so we can see if it comes down.
You know what? I think Hesselden, I think he's looked at his delta. I think K-Slay's had a moment, because K-Slay was only about half a circuit behind. Now he's really far back. He hasn't even made it around the final corner yet, K-Slay.
He's catching a car. He's catching Ray. Ray's going very, very slow. Into the final corner. He's off. He's nudged the barrier. I'm wondering if Ray's on the wrong tyre. Yeah. He's still in 7th place at the moment, though.
Yeah, K-Slay's just gone 5 seconds slower in Sector 1. I think on the previous laps he's lost even more time to K-Slay, even though he's gone for that master stroke of an undercut on Hesselden. He's gone and binned it himself.
Well, we'll be hoping that Hesselden bins it a couple more times. I mean, we've got to start thinking about what questions we're going to be asking the guys in the podium for the podium interviews. And if Hesselden makes it there, one of them will be, what tyres did you choose? Because these have been extremely difficult conditions for the drivers, and I'm fairly sure that that's GBM Vectra catching Hesselden right now.
Quite possibly could be. We've got Ray coming out of the pits for the final time, I think, and Dave the Harp has been overtaken
by
PT. Yeah.
I think Hesselden has actually been overtaken by GBM Vectra, has he? If he has, he's gone for the pit lane. But yeah, I mean, James, I see you've been dodging, or Hesselden's going wide. I still want you to find this the cheering giant around this track. The viewers have all spotted it. Yeah. I reckon so.
I can't see for all this spray.
I tell you what, it's raining heavier again. It's really raining heavier. It will be. I mean, it'll be interesting to hear from the drivers just how difficult these conditions were. But at the same time, I find it quite amusing because the forecast, I think, a week or 2 weeks ago was sunny with a chance of rain. The rain never came, and they complained. They've had enough rain today to make up for that, as Neotig lets the leader through. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they complain about the weather conditions today.
Yeah, definitely. They'll be saying, you know what, if it had been dry, I'd have won.
I tell you what, though, I mean,
last week it was if it had rained.
Yeah, well, there's two drivers in this race. Dave's struggling. Dave's having a big wiggle round the bomb hole, losing the rear end there. He's going slow. He's going really, really slow.
Very odd.
Yeah, I mean, two drivers, GB and Beardy, Live Bry, kind of been in a bit of a class of their own in this race.
Yeah, we saw it in qualifying. They'd completely out-qualified the rest of the field by at least 3 seconds, so it wasn't surprising to see a two-horse race. And even then, Beardy's just bolted.
I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the gap is between...
Oh, Live Bry's gone off. Live Bry's just rejoining the circuit. It's just gone off.
So I've given him a bit of a commentator's curse there then. I was about to say, I'm not sure what the gap is between the two of the drivers, but it will have just grown a little bit now. Now, have we got anyone that's close to having a battle? Let's see, Hesselden's in third. No.
Completely spread out. Got Vectra coming up behind Esselden, I believe.
It is. Now, I think this will frustrate Hesselden in a way that at this stage of the race he's being caught by a guy that's allowed to... Hesselden's kind of let him through. He might have been getting frustrated, but he sort of said, go on, get on with it.
I think he's sort of said, you know what, I'm comfortable with P3. I don't think I'm going to improve. He's quicker than me, might as well let him through.
Yeah. Although on the exit of the corner, he wasn't quicker. Hesselden's now thinking, you know what, I might have that place back. But I mean, for Hesselden, starting
he's going deep, he's going off.
Yeah.
And Hesselden straight back through.
I mean, yeah, for Hesselden starting sixth, if he finishes third, he'll be absolutely over the moon. And Ray, though, I think Ray's probably done more pit stops than most, and I mean, he's in 7th place, so perhaps GBM Vectra having his own issues has helped Ray quite a bit here.
Yeah, well, we did see Vectra running out of fuel or running round at least 2 miles an hour, so I don't know if he had a glitch or some sort of problem, but he was definitely losing time just hanging around the side of the circuit.
Well, at the moment, GBM Beardy is on lap 26 of 28, and let's see, GBM Vectra is on lap 21. Yeah.
There was definitely a lot of time just sat at the side of the circuit, so let's hope we don't have to wait 6 laps for him to finish the race. Now,
this will feel like one of the longest races of the season for these drivers. I mean, with having to do the safety car restart, it adds time. But I mean, to be fair, you've got to commend the drivers on getting into their positions as quickly as they did, and dealing very well with the safety car restart. So, yeah, I mean,
thank God it's a bank holiday.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you'll probably find out that you watch all of these guys will have work tomorrow. Yeah, but I mean, I think this is a race where by the end of it, they're going to be absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, it's. I did know from the PCF race it was 39 laps. It felt like 139 laps, to be fair. Couldn't wait for that one to finish.
Okay, here's a question for you, James. I believe both the PCF and the PCS are going to be racing at the Nordschleife this season. What are your thoughts on that one? The green hell.
Well, any points is good. You know, I'm not going to be say I'm going to be fighting for the lead, but where do you go with setup? Do you go with corners? Do you go for that long straight? I think you go for the corners.
Definitely. I think there's 116 corners and one long straight. You go for the corners. I tell you what, GBM Beardy is about to lap up to 4th place K Slay. So GBM Beardy showing his pace here. And I tell you what, James, I'm going to do you a little bit of a favour. Go and ride on board with Front Row Racing RI. He's taking it nice.
I can't be a giant. Where am I looking?
Right, okay, right on board with Front Row Racing RI. He makes his way down the start-finish straight. He's absolutely hammering it up towards turn 1. We'll listen to how much he lifts off for the corner. Down to 3 gears for turn 1 as the car wants to slide wide. The rear wanting to kick out. And what is that we can see right ahead of us? A cheering giant!
I've got to say, I'm literally throughout this race been looking at the crowd. I've not been looking at the tree line.
And for any of the viewers who haven't spotted it, I will ride on board with, let's see.
That's not there in real life, is it? I think that's just something that the game developers have put in.
As far as I know, it is there in real life. But we're going to ride on board with GBM Beardy. He's coming up to the final corner. Not quite for the final time. He's got one more lap to do. So as he begins his final lap of the race, we'll have a quick look at the grid order and pop that down again. And for any of the viewers that were wondering what the hell Dave has been talking about with the cheering giant, just as James was, as GBM Beardy goes around turn 1 here, have a look at the tree line. Oh, it's changed camera. Have a look at the tree line, and there is your cheering giant. And not only that, it looks like he's had a few pies as well. But anyway, back to the track action. We've talked volcanoes, we've talked space, we've talked Star Wars. I tell you what, though, I am looking forward to watching Captain America Civil War. That looks like a film that I am going to absolutely love. I'm also, I mean, tonight, I've got a busy night tonight. I'm going to finish this and I'm going to go and watch the Formula 1 and find out whether Leicester City have won the Premier League. I'm a massive Man United fan, but in all honesty, the game against Leicester City is a game I would have loved them to have lost, because for Leicester City, if they win it at home, their own ground, fantastic. But I would like to think that had they won it at Old Trafford, the crowd would have gone mental for them. Because if United aren't going to win it, they're perfectly happy that Man City don't, Liverpool don't, Spurs don't, Arsenal don't. And for Leicester to do it, if they've done it, would be absolutely amazing. And I think the Man United fans would absolutely welcome that one. And they'd also welcome Jamie Vardy and Mahrez into their team for next season. Okay, GBM Beardy, James, why don't you give us a little chat about him as he makes his way to the final corner?
Right, well, just to let the viewers know, I don't have a clue what Dave was just on about, but here comes Beardy coming round into the final corner. He's flashing his lights. He's feeling like I did on Friday night. Adrenaline's pumping. Oh, and he's absolutely loving it as we're getting a lovely shot of the garages, which is brilliant to see. You know, the pit crew has done their work.
I changed camera.
But yeah, well done, Beardy. P1. His fastest lap was a 1:48.9.
Well, he hasn't got fastest lap of the race. I think Livebry might have that. And Livebry in second place. He's had a couple of moments, but you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he sort of says hats off to Beardy, he was faster. He may be a little frustrated about the restart because he was in the lead, I think, before the restart was called. But again, I'll apologise to the drivers, but it was a situation where it had to be restarted. Otherwise, it'd have been a non-event, I'm afraid. But Live Bright is going to take second place. He should be absolutely delighted with it. A fantastic drive from him. A fantastic drive from him.
Yep.
Hesselden.
Flashing his lights, he's loving it.
Hesselden, though, I'm going to be interested to find out what tyres Hesselden used throughout that race, because I think he may have kept wet tyres on.
Oh no, it's alright, because Vectra's a full few laps down, but Vectra all over the back of Ray. It's not for real positioning, not P8 and P7.
Not for position, but it will be for pride. So Hesselden, he takes third place. K-Slay, it'll be a fourth place for him. I think he'll be fairly pleased with that. He won't be pleased with being lapped, but I reckon he should be fairly pleased with finishing fourth. Now, viewers, if you have any questions that you would like us to ask the podium drivers, feel free to comment them now in the YouTube chat at James. Although I will say, if you are watching this and it's not live, you're watching it at a later date on YouTube, you can ask the question, but it probably won't get answered because we won't be able to talk to the drivers at that point. But yeah, okay, K-Slay into the final corner. A cracking result for him. Let's see, who was fifth place? I think Neotig was fifth, and he wasn't that far behind K-Slay, you know? Looking at the gap.
Yeah, I've got a picture up. Yeah, it was careful. No, it was... Oh, there we go. Yeah,
see, this is the...
It was Neotig.
Yeah, so it was Neotig. I think the gap was quite close.
Yeah, and then it was David Hart, P6.
Yep, and Dave's making his way to the final corner for what should be the final time. It may even take the car to the pits. I mean, we do say that once the leader has crossed the line, as the cars cross the line behind him, that is race over, even if the game makes drivers continue on for more laps. It's just the way we do it. But for Beardy, I mean, yeah, absolutely cracking race. Now, James, I believe you are the party host, so if you would like to invite GBM, Beardy, Live Bry and Hesselden, although Hesselden is still on the track at the moment, making his way to the pit lane now, but if you would like to invite them in, and we shall ask them a few questions.
Invite's been sent.
Okay, now here's a question for you, James. How difficult is it commentating on a race where you've got weather like we've had today?
It's not... Well, it is difficult. Commentating was not as much to talk about as we got onto our various subjects today. So, yeah, when the racing is a lot closer, it's a lot easier to commentate on. But yeah, it's... We're receiving the podium drivers now.
Well, one thing I was going to say was that, from what I see, my experience I've had on commentating on races, is that when weather gets involved, it tends to spread a field. It's a bit like the parting of the seas, but when it's dry, that's when you really get to see really close battling. I think it's one of those situations where when it's wet, if someone's got their setup spot on, they can blitz it. Like setup and a bit of talent, let's put it that way. Senna at Donington in the wet. When it's like that, there could be absolutely nothing you could do against them. Okay, I did see that we've had Hesselden and I think GBM Beardy join us in the commentary box. Have we had Live Bride join us as well?
I think he's on his way.
He's on his way. So, guys, if you want to just grab a towel, dry your heads, dry your feet, dry your backsides if you need to, because we're very wet out there today. Yeah, just take a few moments. We'll wait for Live Bride to join us in the commentary box where it's nice and dry. The heating is on, the electricity is on for the moment. It may not last long.
We do need to notify the podium drivers, please do not swear.
Yes. I haven't quite got a bleep machine working that I could get activated in time. Although I could say, right, Live Bright, here's a question for you, and then just constantly press it. I'm sure we'd get most of it right. Okay, well,
just miss every normal word and just
yeah, that's probably that is probably exactly what would happen. But so while we wait for Live Bright to join us, we'll move on to GBM Beardy. And James, if you could just keep an eye on YouTube, see if anyone does have questions. Guys, if you do have questions, feel free to ask them. If you don't have them either, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, GBM Beardy, an interesting race. You were probably the only one where it kind of looked comfortable on track. So, was it a comfortable race for you? Did you have any issues?
Oh, I had an issue before the start of the race. I mean, my pedal was horrendous. I just kept on getting like a squeak on it, so...
It's doing a Hesseldon.
Yeah. And my dad decided a bit of WD-40, well, about half a can of it seemed to do the job.
Let me guess. Thrustmaster T300 pedals, where you got two pedals with the metal fronts?
No, I've got the THPA ones, I think.
The T3 PAs, yeah. I've had squeaky brake pedal on mine, and it tends to be the angle you're pressing the pedal with your foot. It's really annoying because it tends to be, well, on mine it's plastic on plastic. But anyway, we'll ignore those issues. So, fantastic drive. How were the conditions?
Lovely. I mean, if I had a boat, perfect conditions. I mean, the car starting off, I mean, the first start we had, I just didn't get off the line. I struggled to get around. So when the safety car restart came, I couldn't be more delighted, to be honest, because it meant I could just control the pace at the start.
How, well, I was going to say how painful, I mean painful would probably be the wrong word. How difficult was it doing those two formation laps?
Quite painful because the tyres were just stone cold. I mean, I couldn't, for those first probably 4 or 5 corners, I was just struggling to get any grip. So it was annoying that way, and then I think Bry had someone hit him up the back, and that all concertinaed up, and then when I broke, it seemed to squeeze everybody together. Well,
someone always hits Bry. He's got a target on him. But fantastic race from yourself there. James, any questions for Beardy? I think James has turned into Darth Vader. All I can hear is...
it was a quote from Vader saying impressive, most impressive. That was very impressive. That was utterly class. Was there any point, I mean, it was quite close in qualifying. Was there any point where you thought may not have had it?
Well, when it came to dries and I went onto the dry tyre, I went on hards because I thought, well, if it's going to stay dry, I might as well just prolong the stint to the end. But as soon as that rain started coming, my heart just sank because I thought, no, please.
Yeah.
Kind of feel, and towards the end of that lap, before I came in, I just, I could see Bry, because Bry came in the lap before.
Yeah.
And I could just see the gap just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I was thinking to myself, don't get a sticky wheel nut or anything like that, because I had it in the first stop.
Yeah, it did seem like a quite long first stop, but luckily you'd pulled out enough of a gap not to actually lose position. How long did you run slick tyres for, or did you not run slick tyres?
I ran slick tyres for about 6 or 7 laps, I think it was.
Right, then was you quite annoyed when we were running on and then realised, hang on, it's going to be chucking it down in a few seconds?
Yeah, I could feel the car just, like the front end just starting to drift away from me. It was like...
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, here's a question for you. Well, a comment and then a question. Your car's got a number 4 on it, and you lapped everybody up to 4th place. You lapped 4th place as well, so fantastically well done for that. obviously you had the slick stint, went back onto the wet tyres, I think it was. I'm sure there was one of the stints where it got dry and then sort of instantly wet again. Were you thinking at that point, if you can remember it, of going, okay, do I go slicks, do I go slicks, no, I'll stay on these, or did it not even factor?
It got quite close. I was on the edge of deciding. I think it was in the first half of the race actually to come in, because I could see that the times were just plummeting down, and then I just saw it just start to increase again as I came out the final corner, and I thought, no, we're staying out.
Okay, fair enough. Well, very well done. Have we had Live Bright join us in the chat yet?
We have not, no. It's a bit of an odd one.
Send him another invite, James, and we'll get on to grilling Hesselden. Hesselden, third place there. I'm guessing quite pleased from starting 6th and finishing 3rd?
Over the moon about that, yeah. Can't believe it. It must have been for people who had some bad races, because I was shocking. I was so far off the pace, so yeah, 3rd place is very happy with that.
I'm sure the viewers would like to know, and I'd like to know, any wheel issues today, or was it just set-up conditions not on it here at Snetterton?
Yeah, the wheel literally was just Friday night on that track, nothing else. After I disconnected, I went on to Donington to have a little go around there. Fine, like laps are fine, the wheels fine. Just I don't know, like a glitch or something on that track.
Well, you'll have to watch this video back to find out what Hulkenberg's thoughts were on that one. Okay, couple of questions for you. I'm fairly sure, but I could be very wrong, that at one of the stints where it went dry, you stayed out on wets. Am I correct with that one?
Yeah, I nearly blew the tyres up. They were bright red. 270, I think, when I looked at the temperatures. They were so hot. And then I was coming around the S's, I think on lap 20, and I see a couple of raindrops come down. So I was going to come in for slicks then. And yeah, a couple of raindrops come down. I was like, it's going to be raining again. So yeah, luckily, and I stayed out. Well, but I've been on the other end of that where I've come in and put slicks on, and then the rain's come. So
well,
yeah,
just before that happened, Casely appeared to be catching you, was putting on a little bit of pressure, and I think he went for the slick tyre. And had it stayed dry, he possibly would have had you. He'd have had to have pushed hard to do it, but it was possibly there. I mean, we were getting told someone's got a puncture, someone's damaging the tyres, and we thought it was you, but you didn't have a puncture. So, I mean, obviously you saw Casely go for the slicks. I mean, how much of a big call is that to make to go, no, you know what, I'm going to carry on?
You know, I was coming in, but Casey was behind me, and he was catching but I knew he was on the wets, and it just started getting dry, and Live Bright was gone, so I wasn't really worried about him. And then, as I come round to the pit entry, I was going to go in, but then left it, and because I thought he was out, and Casey went in, so I was coming in the next lap, and then it started raining, so it weren't a call, it was just pot luck, really.
Well, pot luck worked. Okay, James, over to you.
Yeah, I've got to say, absolutely no problems with the wheel.
No, not tonight, no.
Right, well...
Just bad qualifying, that was all.
Yeah.
I can't blame the wheel.
Well, we did say in commentary, we were wondering if it were anything to do with the wheel, because throughout the opening stints, it did seem like you were struggling a fair touch. Yeah, so that might just be down to setup, do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else, any other drivers thought, but the temperatures, I was going... They were freezing cold to really hot, with obviously the conditions of the track. But I've never, in any of the other races, when it's rained and that, I've never had it like that before. A bit strange.
Yeah, it did look a bit suspect, but the talent came through and you ended up on the podium. And I did say throughout commentary that one of them races where you just had to keep it on the tarmac and you'll get points, because so many people were just completely pushing way too hard, going straight off the circuit. It's just not worth it.
No, I see I come 6th, and then I was just keep on the track, hope for the best, really.
Yeah, no, it was...
I'll take 3rd all day long.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well done, man.
Well, as the rain begins to fall even heavier here now in the pit lane, James, do we have any questions from our viewers for the drivers?
We have one just saying that they weren't right. It wasn't really a question. It was just more they were saying they didn't like the weather. But you know, that might just be some random nutcase.
Well, we'll put that to the drivers. I mean, these guys, I think the weather forecast at the previous event was sunny with a chance of light rain. The rain never came, and some of the guys complained. The forecast for here was heavy rain with a chance of sun, and I think they got the forecast absolutely spot on with this one. So how was it annoying or was it pleasurable? I mean, what were these cars like to drive in the wet? Was it fun? Because these are tail-happy beasts.
I loved it.
Well, you would.
I just love the wet. I just love getting the car. Just you're getting that first point of understeer, and then all of a sudden it's starting to grip. That's the bit that I love. I mean, to GBM, to Vectra, it was he was unlucky, to be honest. He was going to get some good points, but he put dry tyres on.
Okay, Hesselden, what was the weather? What's your thoughts on the weather and how the car copes with it?
Yeah, it's a tricky car, but yeah, the weather was alright. The weather was alright. Just when it started coming down hard, it was tough. But it just slowed down a bit. Don't try and push it. That's all I'll take it as. Like, I found that when I slowed down a bit, I see drivers flying off like little lap cars and stuff like that, and it was just overtaken and that. Yeah.
But here's a question for you. I just remembered I wanted to ask you. Towards the end of the race, you had GBM Vectra catching you. His laps down. Did you pull over to let him through because he was faster than you, or?
Yeah, I pulled over, I let him through a little bit. He come past him, went straight off the track, so I went past him. Then he come past, he come up behind me like really quick, and I see him move, but he was going sideways, like Monza when everyone's going sideways. I was like, oh, I'm in third place. I'm just letting through, like, because I've got took out by a lag car before and that, and like and that it happens. But yeah, I let him through again. Yeah, no, I was like clinging on to third, like I didn't want to lose it.
So we'll end then on GBM Vectra is faster than Hesselden in the wet and on the grass. Okay, so we'll bring this to an end then. Very well done to GBM Beardy, fantastic result there. Very well done to Livebright, who we don't have any post-race comments from him, at least not in the podium interview, but a fantastic result for him in second place, and to Hesselden in third as well, and to all of the drivers who managed to get to the end of that very long, very wet race. Thank you very much to James Hulkenberg for joining us in the commentary box.
No problem anytime, and well done to podium drivers. I don't know how you did it, to be fair.
You'll find out on Friday. Well done to all of the viewers. I'm not sure why I said well done. Well done for sticking with it throughout this tricky event, and thank you very much for taking the time to watch the Front Row Racing PCS. Next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel will be on Wednesday for the F1 World Championship round 17, I think it is, at Mexico. It'll be a very exciting race there, hopefully.
Can I just say, DP, the reason why he's telling the viewers well done, it's from listening to us banging on about anything but racing.
yeah. If you want to know about space, watch this show. But yeah, so very well done to the viewers. So yeah, next up on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel is the F1 World Championship, 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Next up for the PCS will be next Sunday. Hopefully we'll get going on time at 8:30 p.m. and that will be for... I had the picture up earlier, but with the power cut I lost that picture. What track was it? I'm sure one of these guys knows. Spa, that's right, it is at Spa. Okay, thank you everybody. This has been the Front Row Racing PCS. That's just been a big flash of lightning. That's the time to get in the garages and into the bar. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all again soon.